Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be assembling our fuel lines, fuel filler neck, and putting the fuel tank back in. So let's get to it and let's get her done. Alright guys, so we got our engine and everything situated up in there, and now we're moving on to the fuel lines. This one is the suction, this one's a return. The suction is a 3/8 line, the return is a 5/16. So we ran them in nylon, and this is the vent. This is 10 millimeter nylon, because that is the size the ends were on the fittings. So 10 mil nylon, it's gonna come down here, go through here, and then branch out here. So the good thing about nylon is you can take a heat gun, heat it up a little bit, and then you can kind of bend it. So we have that bent so it's going to fit down in there ways, but there's still like a piece of body that comes over here. So we're going to take a piece of hose, slit it, and just wrap it around here, just so it doesn't rub on the body or anything like that. And then the vent tube, we are going to take it and we're going to come under the vehicle here and try to fit it through here, and then kind of wrap it around and bring it back up to the filler neck area, because it needs to be higher than the top of the tank, or else fuel is just going to flow out of it. So we got that done. We just got to get the piece of tube on the fuel lines, and then we'll get the tank back up in the vehicle. We also had to replace the tank straps. They were pretty well rotted, so we have new ones, and we rocker guarded them so they're not going to rust. And then we have the electrical for the pump, so we can get that in, and then we have to run the fuel lines up the front of the vehicle to the engine. So let's get the tank in and get that part done. All right guys, so we got the fuel tank up in after putting the lines on the top of the tank, and we went to the front of the engine, and we're assessing how to do the fuel line. This is what was in there. This is what it came with. So little brass barb fitting for the fuel line. So we stepped it up to a 10 mil line out of nylon. So you can see there's a pretty substantial difference between the two lines, and that is going to be our new feed line. The return line is also 10 millimeter. It doesn't necessarily have to be 10 mil, but that's the fittings we had. So we'll show you what we did, and we'll show you how we adapted the 1/4 inch pipe that was on the lift pump to 10 mil nylon. So for the fuel lines coming down off of the tank, we ran them in these P clamps. They're an insulated, like a rubber insulated steel clamp. And brought them down, used the factory holders there. Brought them around here. Went into these clamps, and then we brought them up to the engine. Up to the top of the engine. So right here is the return line. The return line is only 1/4 inch on the factory fitting, so we had to adapt that to this 10 mil line, but you can't go right from 1/4 inch to 10 mil, so we had to use a couple adapters. So this one goes from 10 millimeter to 5/16. For the fuel filler neck and vent tube, we ran this 3/4 inch line from the vent on top of the tank, secured it onto the side of the tank here, brought it up around the cross member, and then over to where the filler neck is. When we got it, like when the vehicle came in, it already had this this barbed fitting installed in the tank. Also had one up in the filler neck area welded on there. And then it also came with this hose. I think this is 2-inch fuel line. So what we did was we removed the factory filler neck, which is this right here. You can see how small it is, and it sits pretty flat up in the vehicle. So my Yukon is pretty much the same vehicle, and I'm thinking that's why the thing takes forever to fill up on fuel and why it always kicks off when you only have half a tank. Like, it's not full, it's just backing up into the filler tube. So we removed the old filler neck and ran this pipe, ran the new hose where the old one was. So now it's tucked up in underneath. You can't see it from driving behind. Everything looks all clean under there. But this part right here is where we got a little creative, and I think it looks real nifty. So that rubber line is pretty stiff, and in order to get on the filler neck, it would have had to make a pretty sharp turn and it would kink. So we went to the exhaust guy down the road, and he mandrel bent us a 45-degree 2-inch piece. So that slides right in there. Picked up 2 more clamps. Got the clamp on the filler neck up here. That's all secured. And also on this side, right there, you can see the vent tube. So everything's attached in the factory location for the filler neck, so shouldn't have any problems with venting, shouldn't have any problems with filling. Everything should be mint with that. Now I'll take you up top and show you how we adapted it at the engine and how we got the feed line to work as well. All right, so you can see the fuel lines come up there, go into another P-clamp, and then the feed line, which is here, I didn't want to just have a hard line going into here, so I wanted a quick connect. So what we did here was this thread is 1/4-inch pipe. This is a compression fitting, and this is just like a ribbed connector for these fittings. So to get this to work, basically all we did was take a 1/4-inch pipe tap and tap this fitting and then thread seal it. Went in there beautifully, sealed up all nice and tight. So now we have a quick connect for the feed line. And then the return line here, which is 5/16, goes back to, I gotta fasten these lines up yet, but comes back here, right here, to another adapter. So this one goes from 1/4-inch to 5/16, and then from there goes up to this fitting right here, and that is the return. We're still gonna get the fuel filter on here and then prime the system up, get some fuel. To prime these, they have a little hand pump right here. We may have to notch this with a grinder so we can actually use this a little better, because it only has a little bit of swing right now. And we gotta start doing our electrical. We've already started on doing the starter. I've got it bolted down in. The battery cable is roughly ran to it. So there, you can see our starter is bolted in. This battery cable is still loose. It's not gonna stay like that. I gotta route it a different way. And we also deloomed the harness and found the signal wire. Now I need a new end on here because this one is too small to go over the stud. This one was also too small, but I just took a carbide and ground that out. So we're gonna have to kind of route this like this, put that one on, and yeah, then the starter will be in. And then route the signal wire back up to the top and loom it up and fasten it along the firewall. But yeah, that is it for the fuel system. Not too bad to do, fairly easy. There's some stuff we had to kind of figure out how to make work, but we got it. I think it should be good to go. And yeah, now we got to pick at the wiring. Everything underneath for the hard parts should be done. We still have to hook up the transmission controller and what else? But other than that, other than electrical stuff and routing things, we can put the front drive shaft back in, we can put the rear drive shaft back in, and then everything under the vehicle should be done. And we're just moving on to doing all the electrical and everything on the engine, and then the plumbing, and figure out something for the throttle and all that. So it's moving along on the project. There's been some hills we had to climb to make progress on it, but overall I think we're making some decent progress on her. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and follow us on Instagram, and we will catch you in the next one.